The purpose of these lessons is to show you the logic behind the most basic Chinese characters, beginning with the simplest pictograms, and later combining these elements to create more complex characters. Today's lesson introduces 9 characters, all of which contain the pictogram for separation or expansion. So the first and most basic character is 2 lines separating. Pronounced first tone. Ba, ba. As a standalone character, it's the number 8, which is considered a lucky number, as opposed to number 4, which almost rhymes with the word for death and is therefore unlucky. The month of August is naturally the 8th month, 八月. We said in lesson 22 that the character 成 can mean 1/10 of a whole, so 八成 means 80%. It's used as an adverb meaning nearly, almost, or very likely. For example, 八成要下雨. It'll probably rain. 他八成在家打电玩. He's most likely at home playing video games. The second character in today's lesson looks like something is being separated, but Chinese etymologists cannot agree on what that something underneath is. This character is pronounced first tone. Gong, gong. I've chosen 2 of the more plausible explanations. The first is that the pictogram showing separation and a filled container, indicating the dividing up and distribution of items in that container. Such a process should be conducted openly and fairly, which are the basic meanings of this character. The second explanation is that teardrop shape between the 2 upper strokes. This later variation, according to one scholar, is actually a person's right arm clutching something to their body to protect it, insisting that it belongs to them. In other words, personal and private. The addition of the separation radical above indicates the negation, or opposite of that, which would then be open and public. If that second explanation seems far-fetched, in other contexts, that little hook-shaped character underneath actually indicates the male and female pubic area. Literally, they're privates, and also refers to selfishness and other concepts. So that reflexive arm movement to protect one's upper or lower body seems to make sense. This character, gong, also means a male animal, which could logically follow from the idea of openly visible, exposed sexual organs. For example, gong niu, a bull, as opposed to mu niu, a cow. It's also a respectful term for the highest level of nobility, such as when it's applied to certain members of the royal household. For example, a princess, 公主. Otherwise, gong refers to anything public, open to the public, such as a public bus, 公车. It also refers to official business and related items. For example, 公事包, a briefcase, literally a bag for official business. The adjective for public and the verb for to make public is 公开, as in this sentence. 员工的公开信你看了吗? Have you read the workers' open letter? Literally, public letter. The third character in today's lesson is one in which the separation radical serves as the phonetic element. It's paired with the foot radical to create pa, pa. It means to lie prone on one's stomach, or to bend the upper part of the body forward, as when students sleep at their desks. Here's one example. 她趴在地上看书. She's lying on the floor reading. Our fourth character also takes the separation radical as its phonetic and adds the hand radical on the left. It's pronounced either second tone pa, pa, or first tone ba, ba, depending on the meaning. For this reason, it's considered a split sound character. A common sign I used to see on the Hong Kong ferry was this: 小心扒手, beware of pickpockets. This second tone pa pronunciation can also mean to use a rake to rake up leaves, grass, or dirt, as in 扒土, and to describe someone shoving rice into their mouths, obviously in a hurry to leave. The first tone, ba, pronunciation means to dig, to tear down, to peel the skin off of meat or fruit, or to push aside tall reeds and thick bushes, such as in 扒开. The general idea of both pronunciations is to separate and gather to one side. A pile of dirt, a pile of old bricks, a pile of leaves, huge mouthfuls of rice, or a bunch of reeds or bushes pushed to one side. The fifth character in today's lesson is an essential one, a forked stick fixed in the ground to mark the boundary between two plots of land. The separation radical also serves as the phonetic. It's pronounced fourth tone, bi, bi, and means necessarily or must, from the idea that a boundary marker must be respected, must not be exceeded. Particularly useful expressions are 有必要, 没必要, and 不必要 in these next sentences. 有必要的话，你打电话找我. If necessary, call and ask for me. 父母需要去吗？没有必要. Do the parents have to attend? It's not necessary. 不必要的开支, an unnecessary expenditure. 大可不必 is a slightly more emphatic expression meaning totally unnecessary. 你生气是大可不必的. There's no reason for you to get angry. 你大可不必没事找事. There's no reason for you to find fault here, to go splitting hairs. 必定 is another emphatic combination, meaning most certainly. Be sure to. 我看她必定买不成. As I see it, she definitely won't be able to buy it. 想必, literally, I think it must be, means presumably or probably. 他的人好，想必朋友也多. He's a really nice person, got a great personality, and probably has lots of friends. 你的公事包想必在公车上. Your briefcase is most likely on the bus. A useful question is 何必, meaning why is it necessary? Why should you? Why do you want to? For example, 你又不是外人，何必不好意思? You're no stranger. Why should you be embarrassed? An easy four-character idiom is 必不可少, meaning absolutely necessary, a necessity. 行动电话是人必不可少的. A mobile phone is an absolute necessity. Our sixth character today looks simple enough, but has two different interpretations. It looks like a huge mouth on legs, with the separation radical above. It's pronounced fourth tone, 对, 对. The first interpretation is that it's an older family member chanting and singing ecstatically to the gods and ancestors, hoping that his devotion will be reciprocated with good fortune and protection. The second interpretation is simpler, that the mouth is breaking into a big smile, the two outer strokes representing the wrinkles on either side. The seventh and eighth characters in this lesson evolved from 对, one adding a speech radical and meaning happy, pleased, delighted. When this character was borrowed to mean simply to speak, the speech radical was replaced with the heart to keep the original idea of happy, pleased, or delighted. The variation with the speech radical is a split sound character, pronounced first tone 说, 说, or sometimes fourth tone 睡, 睡. The version with the heart radical is pronounced fourth tone 乐, 乐. In both cases, 对 is the phonetic. 说得好 means that what was just said hit the nail on the head. Well said. 妈妈说话说得好公正. My mother speaks fairly and impartially. 公正 means fair-minded and just. 说定 means to settle on or agree on a matter, similar to 搞定 from an earlier lesson. 父母已说定了要开车去山上. My parents have settled on driving to the mountains. 说不定 is a slightly more elegant expression than 搞不好 that we learned in lesson 28. 说不定他们已走了. They might have already left. 你的信说不定他没有寄出去. It's possible that she didn't mail your letter. 说下去 means to keep talking, go on talking. 人家已生气了，你何必说下去? They're already annoyed. Why do you want to keep pressing the matter? Notice the use of 人家, a convenient phrase to mean people in general, people other than you, and sometimes refers directly to me, the speaker. 说一不二 is a four-character set phrase meaning a person means what they say and never makes a promise they can't keep. 我妈妈是一个说一不二的人. My mom is a person who means what she says. 说大话 means to brag, boast, literally talk big. 我哥哥从来不说大话的. My brother has never been one to brag. Notice the emphatic 是的 pattern with missing 是. And now, here are two examples of 悦, the eventual choice as the character for pleased or delighted. 你们的话使得父母不悦. Your parents were upset with what you said. 他出门时，太太面有不悦. When he was leaving the house, his wife didn't look too pleased. The ninth character in today's lesson uses the same phonetic as 说. And is pronounced first tone. 脱, 脱. You can see that it has the flesh radical, which is because the original meaning was to remove bones and tendons from meat. The modern extension of that idea is to remove or shed hair, peel skin, take off clothing, or escape a dangerous situation. Using the vocabulary that we've learned so far, we can make the expression 脱手, meaning to dispose of, get something off one's hands, to sell it. 我们家的土地不好脱手. It's not easy finding a buyer for our family's land. 脱口而出 is another four-character idiom, this one meaning to say something unwittingly, such as an embarrassing slip of the tongue. 他的心事一不小心脱口而出. He unwittingly let slip that he was having problems. Here is our color chart with today's 9 characters. 八爬地趴对睡说月脱 and 弓. Here's a summary of today's lesson. 1. All the characters in this lesson contain an element referring to separation or expansion. 八. Since expansion can be construed as a sign of increasing prosperity, it's also the favorite number of the Chinese, who will pay huge sums of money to purchase automobile license plates or telephone numbers containing a string of 8s. The expression for more than likely is 80%, 八成, used like an adverb. 2. The character 弓 represents either the fair and open distribution of items in a container or a bent arm reflexively protecting one's private possessions, with the separation element 八 negating it. The character for that reflexive clutching arm movement will appear in a future lesson. 3. 弓 also represents the highest level of nobility and includes certain members of the royal household, such as a princess, 公主. Otherwise, 弓 is used to refer to public office, public affairs, and anything government-related. 4. 八 serves as phonetic in both 趴 to lie on one's stomach and 爬 or 八 meaning to separate and gather things into a pile. A pickpocket, 扒手, literally gathers things from your pocket, separating you from your wallet. 5. A forked stick fixed in the ground marks a boundary, giving us the character 必, meaning necessarily or must. Useful expressions include necessary, 有必要, and unnecessary, 没必要 and 不必要. Most certainly, 必定, probably or presumably, 想必, and why bother, 何必. 6. The character 对 is either a person chanting and singing ecstatically in religious worship, or a person with a huge smile. Both interpretations include the idea of expressing great happiness, which was the original meaning of 说. When 说 was repurposed as the verb to speak, the heart replaced the speech radical to create 悦, this character taking on the original meaning of happy or pleased. 7. 说话 is the verb-object combination meaning to speak, with any country name inserted to specify which language it is. 说中国话, 说日本话, 说泰国话. 8. To decide a matter is 说定了. To express perhaps, maybe, or might is 说不定. To brag is 说大话. And a person who means what he says can be described with the idiom 说一不二的人. 9. By using the same phonetic as 说 and adding the flesh radical, we have the character 脱, meaning to shed hair or skin, remove clothing, or escape danger. 脱手 means literally to get something off one's hands, to sell it. And then there's the 4-character idiom, 脱口而出, meaning to blurt out one's thoughts without thinking of the consequences. Now you will find a short quiz on double, triple character, and longer expressions. Answer using only the characters learned so far. Thank you for watching and listening.